This video is a part 2 to my previous video, so check out the other one to be fully informed. Today I'll be talking about who I think every team's in the West X Factor is. An X Factor is a player who's not a star, but he is a player who can majorly impact the game or series for his team, negatively or positively. Like, comment, and subscribe for more quality content, and it would mean a lot. And into the video. This season, the Los Angeles Lakers have surpassed everyone's expectations, being the #1 seed in the tough Western Conference. Going into the playoffs, they are many people's favorites to win it all, but they can't win it all without the help from their role players. I consider J.R. Smith, Rajon Rondo, and Kyle Kuzma for their sixth man, but I chose Danny Green, who is the definition of a 3-and-D player. The only problem is Danny is wildly inconsistent with his three-point shot, with him only shooting 32% from 3 in last year's playoffs. If he can consistently make threes and play good defense, it will help the Lakers a lot because it will force the defense to not be able to clog the paint, making more space for LeBron drives and AD post. The Los Angeles Clippers have had an up and down season, but have still been good and the second seed in the Western Conference. Going into the playoffs, they're considered the Lakers' biggest competition for getting out of the West. I believe their biggest X factor is Lou Williams because he is the leader of their bench and he's their third scorer, and he takes many difficult shots, and if he isn't making those difficult shots, he isn't as valuable with him being a poor defender. If Lou can go on fire for a series, LA might be unbeatable. Lou will be very important if Paul George has one of his infamous playoff chokes because Lou can replace his scoring. The Denver Nuggets have had a positive season, being the third seed in the Western Conference. Some X factors I considered for them were Jamal Murray, Jeremy Grant, and Paul Millsap. But I chose Will Barton, who has been very underrated this season, being Denver's third leading scorer. Will has averaged 50 points per game, 6.3 rebounds, and 3.7 assists on good shooting splits, being an all-around good NBA player. If in the playoffs Will can have some big games, Denver can use it and win some huge games that they will need to succeed. The Utah Jazz have had a solid season this year, being the 4th seed in the Western Conference. Going into the playoffs, they will be missing Bogdan Bogdanovic, who is their second leading scorer, meaning they will need someone to step up and take over. And I think that guy is Mike Conley, who hasn't been good this season, averaging 13.8 points per game, 4.3 assists, on 40% from the field and 37% from 3. With Bogdan gone, they need Mike Conley to replace his points. If Mike can play how he did last season, Utah will be a team you wouldn't want to face. Oklahoma City Thunder have surprised everyone, with most people expecting them to be in contention for a top 5 pick, but surprisingly, they're the 5th seed over the Houston Rockets. I consider Dennis Schroeder, Danilo Gallinari, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for their X factor, but I chose Steven Adams, who needs just to grab rebounds and play good defense. OKC isn't a good rebounding team, and they use small ball often, so it will be up to Steven to grab them. Also, Steven will need to guard players such as Rudy Gobert, Nikola Jokic, and Anthony Davis. Houston has been one of the most up and down NBA teams, but that's what makes them scary in the playoffs. Houston can either make it all the way to the finals or lose in the first round. I think Houston's X factor is Eric Gordon, who since coming off his injury has been very inconsistent. If Eric is cold at times, he is unplayable, but when he's on fire, he can be Houston's go-to scorer in moments. If Eric can make threes in the playoffs, it will give Houston a third scorer and another option to go to. The Dallas Mavericks have been a better team earlier than many expected, and are a team many people can see giving the Clippers a fight or even defeating them. To do that, they need their X factor, Tim Hardaway Jr., to play good. Hardaway Jr. is similar to J.R. Smith in his prime, with the way he can be unstoppable when he's on fire. Hardaway also has improved his defense. If Hardaway can shoot over 40% from 3 like he did in the regular season, it will help the Mavericks a lot. Memphis Grizzlies have shocked everyone, being in place to make the playoffs this year. But with a few teams looking to take this year's 8th seed, Memphis needs players to step up to secure it. Their X factor is Brandon Clark, who is one of the most underrated rookies, and if he plays good, it will give Memphis a good chance to keep the 8th seed. This year, the Portland Trail Blazers have disappointed everyone, not even making the playoffs after being the 3rd seed in the previous year. They did have a lot of injuries, but if they want to do the unlikely and make the playoffs, they need Carmelo Anthony, who can be their 3rd perimeter scorer. This season, Carmelo has been okay, but a little overhyped because he's doing the same thing he did on OKC and Houston. But if Carmelo can bring out the old him in these 8 games, and if in the playoffs the Blazers are playing, they will need prime Melo, or at least a good Carmelo, to win any series or any games. New Orleans started the year slowly, but since getting Zion from injury, there has been some hype surrounding them about getting the 8th seed. I think the only way they can do that is if JJ Redick plays good. JJ is a terrific shooter and he can hit crazy tough shots, and JJ can be the 3rd scorer for the Pelicans. JJ can take over games with his shot creating, and he causes the defense to always be watching him with his off-ball movement and his deadly 3-pointers. He can hit anyone, and that movement will allow Zion to drive more and Brandon Ingram to drive more as well. I think JJ will play great because he doesn't want to lose his playoff streak. The Sacramento Kings have disappointed everyone this year, but they have dealt with injuries. Before this year was cut short, they were one of the hottest teams in the league. If they can keep the same streak, they can maybe get the 8th seed. Also, if Harrison Barnes plays good, it will help Sacramento because Harrison can create shots for himself and be valuable. The Spurs and Phoenix Suns don't have a chance to make the playoffs, but I guess the Spurs X Factor is DeJounte Murray and the Suns X Factor is Ricky Rubio. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. Drop a like because if you made it to the end, you obviously like something. Subscribe because it would mean a lot, and comment because I respond to all. And I'm out.